Welcome to the Simply Is Coffee Shop, everyone. Today's show is a very passionate topic to all of us here on panel today, as well as the studio audience, and possibly even some of you viewers that have followed us for a long time. The topic of discussion today is Whispering Ponies Ranch and what we do there, and why the work that we do is so extremely important and the life-changing to all that are involved. So in case somebody hasn't heard about Whispering Ponies Ranch, Nita, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Whispering Ponies Ranch and what it is?
Whispering Ponies Ranch is a place where we allow groups to come at no cost, and we work mostly with the Royal Family Kids Camps and Teen Reach. And it's because we believe in what they do and the accomplishments during those weeks that they are there. We have all kinds of amenities that we exercise. Joe is our recreation director. He makes sure that the swimming pool, the chemicals are always perfect. And he oversees our rock wall, the zip line, and every of that kind of recreation. And Kate is our animal encounter director, and she helps us manage what we do with the animals. And I mostly work with the groups, and Nita Lee is very vital to all of everything. You know, we were talking yesterday, how do we introduce Nita? And it's like, well, she's kind of everywhere and everything. So she's everybody's assistant, so very vital to everything we do. But in any case, these kids come at no cost. And during the week that they are there, we work with them through all of these different activities. And Catherine does our food service. And so we're all intricately knit as to what happens there. But I would like to actually open it up and allow all of us to share, because we all have really fun things and
absolutely
meaningful things, life-changing things to talk about today. So, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, so what kind of children, though, come to the camps?
Foster care, kids who are wards of the state, abused and traumatized children, and we see the changes happening just within a few days. And Teen Reach is only there for like 3.5 days, and it's amazing how much we see in that short period of time. You would think that they just barely get started and they have to, no, there's so much that gets accomplished during that. It's a different program geared to the older children who age out of Royal Family, but it's all wonderful stuff. Life-changing, as you put it, what we do.
Absolutely.
So, I'll just toss this out, food for thought. So like we now that we have time to kind of break it down and we're not stuck to a time limit, we can talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we do. We've talked in the past about what the groups do, and I'm sure that's going to come up before the day's over, because we're going to be rehashing birthday parties and all what happens at the arena when the kids come for the animals, and tea parties. Nita loves the tea parties. But let's talk a little bit about what we get to do on our end, because I don't think we've had a whole lot of time to break that down, and I really want to share that today.
Yeah, so going back, if you don't know what Royal Family Kids Camps are or what Teen Reach is, go back way back in the archives and you should be able to type those keywords in, and you can watch us interview some of the camp directors that actually bring the kids, and so they'll tell you a little bit about their side of it and what they do. And those were amazing shows as well, so make sure you go back and watch those. But Kate, tell us a little bit about the animal encounter and how that works.
So we have 3 main activities that we provide for the children. We have one is paint a pony, so we bring one of our white horses or, light colored horses, and we have washable, non-toxic kindergarten finger paint, and they can paint whatever they want on their hands. They can do handprints on the horses, paint butterflies.
So cute.
Yeah, of course. And also we've seen some kids who are a little bit nervous around the horses. Not as comfortable around them, but then they actually open up more because they can unleash their artistic side. So that's very interesting. Our second activity is the pony carts. We have these little horses, we have all this gear on that we hook up to them, and then we put them in a cart, and then we can teach the kids how to drive these little ponies. And it's very interesting for these kids to learn how to drive, because they can learn how to be very gentle, how to learn how to control something, how to learn how to trust the animal and the people that they're working with.
It probably is empowering for them.
Of course.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes.
These are kids that are told every day what they're going to do. They don't get to make decisions.
Right.
But when they take that little horse and they realize that that little horse is listening to them,
Right.
just with a gentle little tug of the finger, even the teenagers, I love it.
That's cool.
In fact, I think that's the one that surprised me the most was those teenage boys, because I'm thinking,
They're teenage boys. They're
Rough
not
and
going to
tumble
care.
boys.
Right.
we're
Yeah.
not talking horse, we're talking miniature
Right,
horse,
right.
32 inches
Yeah,
tall.
it's not a
Got to
Clydesdale.
keep their macho personality.
Yeah, but the smiles, they wait until they turn their back when they're going in the arena where they can't.
everybody can
They're looking at me going, oh, this is so cool, this is so cool. They don't
be
want
macho.
everybody to know that they're feeling that way because they keep it really on the down low. But then when they come back around, they're all big and macho. They come back, oh, this is so much fun. I want to come back and do this. And we've got
Strategic.
kids that are probably going to come back and want to work for us in the future.
That's incredible.
That's just been amazing. But continue, what else do we do?
So our last thing that we like to do with the kids is I call it animal encounter, and it's almost like a little animal safari that we set up. We have different stations. We have one with goats, one with cows, one with the horses, the donkeys. We have one with alpacas and our sheep. At each station, these kids, we give them a cute little bag. And at each station, we have almost like little themed souvenirs. Like we'll have
Okay.
alpaca hair that I get from our alpacas. I call them our alpaca hairballs that we give to them. And then we have, little stamps or bracelets or whatever. And so we like to try and give these kids as many tangible items that we can so that they can take home and always remember.
A happy memory.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny how these kids love those. Some of the counselors I've noticed like to take the little bendable donkey and
But their excuse is that they're bringing it back to their kids. So they're
Their
just like, I'm just
grandkids.
gonna take
Sure.
a couple from my kids back at home.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
we also have a little color book that features alpacas. And I found it very interesting that one of the teenage girls from the last Teen Reach that we had actually saw that she didn't get one, and she's like, where do I get one of those?
Yeah, she was almost frustrated or something, and then she, ended up coming over to where the alpacas were and got them. But
Yeah, on the alpacas, share a little bit about the difference in horses and the alpacas and what the kids get to do.
so with the alpacas, we actually let the kids hand feed the alpacas, which is something that they don't get to do with the horses because they can't see the end of their nose. And so if you hand feed a horse, they might accidentally, nibble or, do something that might even just scare the kids, even if they weren't trying to hurt them.
Right.
Yeah.
But alpacas, they are very gentle in the way they eat, and their tongues are actually not long enough to lick things. And so they've got these split little lips that almost act as like little fingers and stuff. And so I think that's a very interesting thing that the kids get to do with those that's different than what they get to do with the horses.
Right.
Do they get to hand feed the goats too?
Yeah, sometimes we let them hand feed the goats.
But
of course.
mostly I'm holding like one of our sheep, and they don't really like to hand feed very much unless if you have like grain, and we usually use alfalfa.
Oh.
So then they're like, "Can I feed the sheep?" I'm like, "You can try. I don't know if you will. You can try though." And then they won't end up doing it. So then they lose interest and then go back to the alpacas.
The alpacas.
Yeah.
But the interesting contrast between the feel of these little critters, the goats are a little more coarse, their hair is coarse,
Yeah.
and the sheep are super fluffy, especially whenever Kate washes them, they get all fluffy, and she blow dries their hair too, and it fluffs up like a little cotton ball.
Cotton ball.
Bob Ross.
Like a little white cloud running around.
Yeah.
Puts them through her spa.
Yeah.
She puts them through her spa, and they come out fluffy.
And to see the look on the kids' face when they pet that sheep is just so cute. Because they're like, "Whoa, this feels like a weird carpet."
Yeah.
And then they like stick their finger down, and it's like, "Where did my finger go?"
Yeah, it just
It's
keeps
like-
going.
Yeah.
That you just mentioned is so important, Juanita, because she's talking about the looks and the expressions that these kids give off at Whispering Ponies Ranch. And if you're just joining the program and you've never heard about Whispering Ponies Ranch, I know that Nita mentioned that a lot of these kids are from foster care or whatever, but these are not just kids from foster care.
Right.
Many of them have been
Right.
rescued out of sex trafficking.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them, to be a part of the program that comes with RFK, Royal Family Kids, and Teen Reach, have to have usually pretty severe
Yeah.
Right.
upbringings or troubled paths. So
Yeah.
you're
Right.
talking about
Extreme
kids that have a lot
cases.
of dilemmas,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
from communicational
Right.
Yep.
to psychological.
Emotional.
They've been locked in dog cages in basements. They've been whipped with bicycle chains. They've been made to hold their hands on the tops of stove tops. They've been hit with switches and sticks and electrical cords and belts and neglected.
Neglected.
A lot of the
Neglect is
children that come up
huge.
with Royal Family Kids Camps, for them to get to eat meals, plural, per day.
Right, exactly.
And
We've had-
snacks on
and
top
snacks. You know, a lot of the kids come in citing that this is the first chance they've had to eat in a couple of days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so sad.
So you can't miss that this is not like when you think of youth camp. You know, show of hands, probably at some point, most of you have gone to like a Bible camp,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You played with squirt guns and did, you know, water slides
Nothing
and played in
anything
swimming
like
pools.
what we offer, though.
What we do at Whispering Ponies Ranch is highly specialized.
Yeah.
And a lot of long historied psychology goes into why we use the amenities that
Right.
we
Yeah.
use. Why are we using animals
How we
to
interact.
interact with children? What's the purpose
zip
of the
lines.
program?
Yeah.
It's fun to ride a zip line and to climb a rock wall or to play inside the indoor swimming pool. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, you know, each one of these experiences comes with a lot of very purposed,
Yeah.
psychological,
Yeah.
let's break down the barriers and get these
Right.
kids into rehabilitation. So
Right.
I think if you don't understand that, you miss the stuff that Nita's talking about here with the little animals and the smiles on their faces. Like a lot of these kids have literally never left the city.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They've been
Stars at night.
Stars at night.
Well, we take that for granted.
Yeah.
You know, that you can, we go out in the yard and look up, and I mean,
Right.
we've always had the stars, you know, and these
Yeah.
kids, you know, all they see is city lights and
Yep.
you know, smog and traffic and
Yeah.
loud, you know, and you get
So-
out here and crickets.
Yeah, so even an animal.
Yeah.
I heard my best friend from childhood one time, Katie, this is hilarious. But my best friend from childhood, Jason Pumphrey, said something that stuck with me. We were up at Camp Davidson like 20 years ago, and our maintenance guy, Jerry Tyndall, we spotted some deer, but you would see deer every day.
Every day.
Every day. And so Jerry goes, "Hey, Jason, look at the deer." And he goes, "Eh." And he goes, "It's a whole family of them. You don't care?" And he goes, "Man, I see them every day. If it was a rhinoceros, then I'd stop and
I'd
take
take notice."
pictures. Yeah, I'd care." So, like these kids, they might see a neighbor's dog or something or have a
Right,
family
right.
cat, some of them.
Yeah.
But an alpaca,
Right?
a miniature
The
cow.
zebu.
You got to be kidding me. This is like exotic, almost wildlife safari face to face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, and the only time that they may have gone to like a zoo to see some of the exotic animals is like on a school field trip or
Exactly.
something.
Right.
And the other thing too to really remember about these kids is foster care kids, because they are wards of the state, they're not allowed to go to regular summer camp. So they
Right.
can't
Yeah.
just go to church camp, or because of the liabilities and the waivers that have to be signed. So that's why too this is so important, because they may have never been able to go to a camp before.
They also spend a whole week seeing the family unit affirmed.
Oh,
So
right.
like what Royal
That's
Family Kids Camp
huge.
do is they give all their counselors names. So like the senior volunteers, they'll refer to them as, you know, grandma and grandpa.
Right.
And the male counselors are called Uncle Sven or Uncle Stephen or Uncle
Right.
Bill or whatever.
Yeah.
And the females, you know, Aunt
Yeah.
Sarah, Aunt Stephanie, that kind of thing. And so they're always seeing the
And then the younger ones are called cousins.
Yeah.
yeah, they're called
Yeah.
cousins. So the
Yeah.
family construct is always being
Yeah. Reinforced.
affirmed. But also a whole week in what Wayne Tesh calls the theater of outdoors, learning
Right.
about Jesus.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that is truly the only power, honestly, you guys. We can do all that we can, but at the
Yes,
end of the
I
day,
agree.
My gosh.
it is
yeah.
the Holy Spirit
100%.
that kind of meets us at the end of our own limitations as people. We say, "Lord, we've done everything we can.
Right.
We have 1 week with most of these kids. You have their only hope
Yeah.
Exactly.
is in your hands, that this is enough, and that you will take these little seeds and then work with them everywhere else they're going to be for the rest of the year." We've seen time and time again, haven't we, Mom? These kids grow up through the Royal Family Kids program, and they come back as counselors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
1 week. One
Yes.
week of camp every year. Samantha Orr, who was one of the worst cases of childhood abuse in the history of Missouri,
Right.
grew up through Royal Family Kids Camp, and she's a part of their organization. Today would tell you that it's the thing.
Right.
that she looked forward to from Friday, the day she left camp,
Yeah.
to 364 days later
Right.
Right.
when she's on the bus headed back.
Right.
It was a countdown, and she gives it credit for how she's turned out and the miraculous way that God has turned her life around.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so I've got this running joke with the kids now. Every week I'll say, when they're excited and we're getting close to Friday and they know they're going to have to go back home, I'll say, and you know where I'm going.
Yes,
I'll
it's one of
say,
my favorite things.
You know what the secret is to coming back forever, don't you?
There's a secret.
I could come back forever. Like, you know what it is? I'll tell you. You want me to tell you? Yeah. I say, you have to grow up and be a counselor. And the eyes of possibilities start whirling.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. I
Redirects
started
their
that
life.
like last year, and I'm telling you, I'm waiting. If I live long enough, 20 years, 15 years from now, whatever, I want to live long enough to see one of the kids come back and apply for a job and say, do you remember when you told me what the secret was?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then
I
they'll-
wanna see it.
Then they'll start saying that.
Oh, I want to see it. I want to see it.
It's going to happen. It will happen. We've already had junior counselors that have graduated out are now junior counselors,
Yeah.
which means they have to be 14, 15 years old, but they do get to come back. But the thing is that redirects their purpose in life.
Yeah. It gives them a goal.
It gives
Yeah.
them something productive and a useful purpose to apply themselves to.
What was one of your favorite memories this year, Mom?
Well, right now, I shared this on Skywatch just yesterday. Every year brings unique opportunities, and I always see things from a little bit different perspective because of what I do. So I was invited to the tea party, and they invite me every year, and I've never done it. But this year I thought, okay, out of curiosity, I'm going to go see what they do. And so we went there, and I was explaining how the tables were decked out, and they had these decadent little treats like bonbons and
Yeah.
truffles, and I don't even
Cakes and
little
cookies.
things. I don't even know what you call them, but they're chocolate and strawberries. And,
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
you know what I mean?
Just
Yeah.
these super fancy,
Yeah.
Fancy little.
delicate desserts.
Just the table is full of them. So
Like
every
you get if you actually went to an actual
Yes.
tea room.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
So they try to give these kids
Yes.
the full experience.
right, they had this little archway made out of balloons, and
Mm-hmm.
but all the girls were missing, and so I'm like, okay, I wonder where the girl. And then all of a sudden, the designated camp grandpa walked over to this archway, and they began to announce these girls.
Well, and he's
One at a
decked
time.
out too.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
decked out in a full suit. I mean,
Formal.
he is
Yeah.
Right.
sweating profusely because it's so hot. But
Exactly.
he's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to do this.
Sacrifice.
And he's got his church shoes on. He's
Right.
got his slacks, a shirt, a tie, a
Yep.
suit coat.
He's got cologne
decked
on.
out.
Yep.
Yes.
Meet, and then they say the name.
Meet little Sarah or whatever.
And they tell how old this little child is, and then they tell what they liked about their dress. I did not bring those notes. I don't know why I didn't. I had them with me. But one little girl liked her dress because of the length, and because it was full length, and that made her feel super special.
Well, and she was a fairly tall, slender
Yes.
girl, too, so I'm sure finding a dress that actually fits her all the way
Yes.
down, too, is probably tricky.
Right. Well, these little prom dresses that they wear are also dresses that were gifted to them by people who go shopping during the year. Now, some of these are the people who put the tea party on, and some of them are people who just, I have this closet,
Yeah.
doesn't,
Right.
I have these things in my closet I don't need, and they donate to this group. And then they bring these dresses, and the little girls get to pick whichever one they want. But now here's to me what was the clincher for these dresses, is because this particular group actually hires an alterations lady
Yep,
who
a
comes on
seamstress.
site, a seamstress. And so it does not matter what size these girls pick. They
so
pick
cool.
the dress of their dreams, and then that lady will take that dress and alter it to fit her body style. And that's what she does. For 2 or 3 days, she does this day and night, she's doing this. And then whenever these girls are ready for their announcement, they come walking underneath this archway with this beautiful dress that's been altered for that particular person, while the grandpa escorts them to their table, to their special place to sit. There's a little biography that's read. And I can't remember all of them, but the best.
Nita does. Do you remember what they say?
Yeah, so before the tea party, they ask the girls, what their favorite hobbies are, what their favorite
That's
part
right.
of the dress is,
What their favorite color is.
What they dream to do
color
when
is,
they become an
what they
adult.
want
Right.
to do when they grow up.
Yeah.
So then they answer, and then there's these cards filled out. And so they'll announce, they'll be like, little Erin,
Her
her
favorite
favorite color is blue, and her favorite part of the dress is the sparkles.
Yes.
And when what she wants to do when she grows up is be a dog groomer.
Yeah.
It's just so special and so sweet because
Yeah.
Each girl, the way I remember you sharing this yesterday, each girl, they're speaking life and a future over
Yes.
this young
Right.
person.
Yes.
They're saying, this is little Susan. She loves the color purple.
Yeah.
She dreams to grow up and become
A veterinarian.
a veterinarian or a psychologist,
Firefighter.
a firefighter,
A
whatever.
kindergarten teacher.
And so you've taken these children who have been told mostly that they have no value, they'll never
Right.
do anything, they have
They're
no worth,
worthless.
get out of my sight,
Yep.
who've been beaten and so forth. And for the first time, they're in this room that's
Elegant.
almost done up like a formal
It's a formal.
wedding.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
very
formal.
If you were a normal, totally advantaged child from a balanced home, you would not forget that night.
Right.
Right.
You can imagine how paramount and epic it would be.
Oh my gosh.
It would be otherworldly. It'd be like they'd stepped through a vortex
Exactly.
And
to this place where they're universally loved, and somebody is proclaiming over them
Exactly.
that
Celebrating
they will
them.
Be whatever
celebrating.
they want.
Yeah.
They can dream to
Yeah.
grow up and have a future.
Right.
You can't imagine the impact. They're never
Well,
going to forget these moments.
These dreams that they say, and when she grows up, she would like to be a, and there's several of them. There was a kindergarten teacher, a traveling nurse.
Yep.
A traveling nurse.
Yeah, there was a kitten
Veterinarian.
seller.
Yeah.
A kitten
Girl,
seller. Come on.
Isn't that cute?
I don't even know how that works.
that's her
It's
dream.
adorable.
She has a dream.
Right.
She got to tell people her dream.
Yeah.
Right.
And to her, that was an important and it was validated. When it was
Absolutely.
announced, she's going to be a kitten seller.
Right.
So,
Well, and everybody, after they announce the girls what they want to be when they grow up, is the last thing that gets announced. So then everybody's like, "Yeah, you can do whatever
Yes.
you want." Yeah.
the affirmations are endless. One I want to make note of is that when it comes to the dresses, there were several different reasons why they liked their dress. And like Nita said, one of them was a sparkle, one was the length, one was the fact it had a bustle on it, and then one of the little girls liked it because she got to match her sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cute because what a lot of people don't understand about these kids who come, we've seen this.
We've seen it.
We've seen where there's two or
multiple
three
times.
kids, and sometimes I think there was one family of four.
There was.
Little kids that were from the same family. And while they're there, it's so fun to watch the interaction, how they're watching out for each other.
Yeah.
But this one little girl got to match her sister. And, you know, some of these kids don't get to see their sister or brother until they get to come to camp.
Well,
So-
that's a huge thing.
Yes.
Did you hear that, guys? Did you hear that? Sometimes at camp, that's the only time they get to see their sibling because they're in separate foster homes because the system can't keep them together.
Right.
And that's just been heartbreaking that they come
Yep.
to camp
That's more trauma.
to see
And
their
so,
sibling.
yes.
And
Yeah.
so then they're just inseparable
Yes,
the whole week.
time.
Traumatized.
Exactly.
Yeah. Traumatized.
And so then on
It's
Friday,
incredible.
you understand why sometimes it's not just the camp, it's that
Yeah.
connection
Right.
to their sibling that, I don't know when I'll see you again.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most life-changing and productive things we can do for our children,
Oh,
is to
big time.
provide
Oh my gosh.
this canopy
Yeah.
for these kids to come and have a little taste of what life is. Anyway, as they walk through these little archway, I choked up because my youngest daughter was little bitty and she was a daisy in Missionettes. She got at the talent festival. She got to sing "I Am a Promise"
I love that song.
with her best friend Tanya.
I've been singing it all night since
Have you?
sang it yesterday.
It's a good song to
It's a
get
good
stuck in your head.
reminder.
Yes, it is. But these little kids, as they walk through there, I could hear that song. I am a promise. I'm a possibility. I'm a promise with a capital P. I'm a great big bundle of potentiality, and it's like my heart was like,
Yeah.
that's what.
And I
this
am
is that
learning
song.
to hear God's voice.
Yes, 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 yes,
I love that.
yes.
Because at camp especially.
Yes,
You know.
yes. So that was my highlight when I got to see these little kids
Yeah.
come through and realize that they have a potentiality and a future.
Get made to feel like Miss America.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. So that's life-changing. And then comes after all of the delicious foods that are brought forth out of food service, which is this big, giant, like, delicious cordon bleu, chicken cordon bleu with mashed potatoes and some steamed broccoli.
Well, the kids are also served, so they're also being treated like princesses. They sit down at their table, their food is brought to them. It's just so magical. And the tea party isn't just about them throwing on a dress and then eating and
No, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
going back to activities. They spend all morning doing their nails,
Yep.
their hair, their makeup, and there's each stations that they go to getting ready, and then they get their dress on, and then they walk up to where the lunch area is, and then they see how beautiful it is, and their faces light up, and then they'll all introduced, and then
The shoes is what kills me
Oh,
because
same.
shoes,
Same.
yes, yes.
some of them they're like full size,
like
women
size 10
high heels.
and their foot is like this big, and so
I
they're
know.
like kind of clunking
Clip, clop,
around.
clip,
It's like
clop.
so
Yeah, it
cute.
is so cute
That
though
is
because
fun.
it's that quintessential picture that you always see with little girls, you know, with the pearls and they're wearing their mommy's high heels and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's so much that, but it's just so
It's
cute.
so cute. It's so cute, and it's kind of rare if you find a heel that actually matches the size of
the child's
Yeah, 'cause they're
foot.
so little.
because
Yeah.
half the time their foot is like this big and they're wearing like a woman's size 9. It's just like so cute. Another thing that they do at the tea party is, like I said before, is that they're actually being handed their food, so they don't have to get up once they sit down.
It's like going to a fancy
yeah,
restaurant.
but just without ordering the food.
Right.
The theme of the tea party was Joseph, so they had like rainbow balloons and streamers, and when they're eating, a lady walks up and she tells these kids about Joseph and how he had so many ups and downs in his life, but he still kept following God, and how he persevered, and how these kids are still always loved by God and should always follow God no matter what happens to them. And so she's talking about her testimony and Joseph's testimony while these kids eat, just a short little devotion. And then when the kids are done eating, they don't have to get up and throw their plates away. Somebody asks them, like they would at a restaurant, "Are you done with your plate?" And they'll be like, "Yes, I am." and then so they'll take the plate, and then my favorite part, because I go to the tea party every year, it's my favorite part
My
of
shocked
camp.
face.
Once they are all done eating, they all got their dessert, we get up and there's a dance party, which I just love so much because I get the opportunity to connect more with these kids and I get to see more into what they do as a camp instead of just working
Right.
Right.
On the
at
outside.
just the rock wall or
Right.
the horses. And so I'm dancing with these kids, and this one kid that came up to me, she really didn't really talk to me very much. She's so tiny. She had the huge heels on. She took them off. She came up to me and just started grabbing my hands, and she starts dancing with me. I'm like, "Oh, so we're doing this now. That's cool." Okay. And then she wanted a picture with me. And so she got a picture with me, and they put it in the photo album. But it's just such a cool experience, such a awesome experience to be at the tea party.
It's cool that they have a camp photographer that
Yeah.
memorializes for these kids these moments.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and somebody should probably explain that too here in a little bit, but
Yeah. But I love getting dressed up. And since I am working all morning and stuff, I don't have time to do makeup or hair, but I still have enough time to throw on like a nice dress. And so all these girls are like, "Oh, I love your dress." I'm like, "No, I love yours. Yours is so pretty. It fits your shape. It's so gorgeous." And I wore some like thick heels, so I kind of had to bend down for this smaller girl, and she's just like this to me, and I'm like bending down, and then she starts pulling my arm towards where they're doing pictures, and there's like a line, and she's like, picture with me. I'm like, "Well, we gotta wait a second. Hold on, can you wait in line?" She's like, "No, I don't want a picture with you."
What are you missing?
She's
I want a picture.
then I want it now.
She got her heels on for the picture.
Oh.
So we got a picture, and it was so sweet. It was just
Cute.
a sweet moment. I love the tea party. Can't wait for next year.
Part of the reason that we are able to do everything that we do at Whispering Ponies is because of viewers like you that have helped to support Whispering Ponies Ranch and Skywatch TV. You can visit skywatchtvstore.com, and in the left-hand side, you'll see a donate button, and there's multiple different options that you can choose from on how you would like to support our ministry. There was no way we were going to cover everything that we wanted to talk about and share with you guys today. So how about we come back next week? Would you guys like that?
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
So please join us next week as we finish this amazing discussion of what we do at Whispering Ponies Ranch. We'll see you next week in the Simply His Coffee Shop.